Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Mechanical Warriors. My name's Josh Cav. Today I've got an awesome episode for you guys as I get this car ready for paint. Stay tuned. So guys, in the past episode we got the body kit ready, fitted the body kit, got all the little problems and brackets and everything all made up so that everything fits nicely, there's no gaps. Now in this episode, what we're planning to do is get this car ready for its undercoat. So we're going to be sanding the entire vehicle back down, and then we've got a blow up booth coming, which will inflate over this entire area in here. And then we will be spraying our first coat of undercoat on this car. Now in saying this guys, I am not a professional painter, nor am I a professional panel beater or anything of the sort, but watch me get this to a showroom finish. Another few things that I've got to check and make sure that's right is down here where this kit comes underneath the door. This section, not so much here, but over on this corner here, it's just ever so slightly touching there. And after we put paint on this, it'll actually build up a little bit higher and possibly scrape. So I need to sand that back down and get a bit more of a gap between the door and that guard there. On this other side, it's actually hitting quite bad, and you can see, if I open the door, you can see a rub mark there where it's been rubbing also here. So I'm going to hit that with the sander and get that door gap right, and we'll go over and make sure all the shape of everything is right too. So if there's any dints or dings in the panel, or the panels are not completely straight, we'll use filler, go over every single part of this car, get it ready for our undercoat. Let's get stuck into it and start sanding. Okay guys, so the first thing that I want to fix is this low spot here. And so we're going to put filler in here, and then I'm going to use this awesome tool here, which I got from eBay for, it was only like 20 or 30 bucks, but I'll leave a link to that. Basically, what you got to do is set the angle like so that it is running on the same angle as the bonnet going down. You can see how that's bent now, and I'll use this to basically get my edge so I've got a perfect line. Now to apply it, I like to use these metal rulers. They're really, they just bend well. So I'm going to put a heap of filler in there and then basically drag it across like this and try and build that up to a high spot there, and then we'll use this to sand it back to a nice finish. Let's mix up some filler and get it done. Okay guys, once you get your filler open, just want a nice spatula like that. We're going to need quite a bit here, so I'm going to load this thing up. Kind of a little bit of an art to this, getting this amount right. Okay, so it's been a long day of sanding and bogging, and this section here was so hard to get right. So now it follows this contour of this part of the bonnet. That contour follows down all the way to this edge here, and it is perfect. And that took like 4.5 hours. Anyway, my next job, see here how this gap here is slightly bigger on this side than it is to this side. So going to fix that gap up, then we're going to move on to the panels, panel by panel. So got a few little bits and pieces to sort out. That'll be a job for tomorrow. I'm going to pack up for today. All right, so we've finished this front section finally. You can see the line there. She's nice and fixed up, it's all straight. Done these side bits as well, so they all marry up, and this now contours with this front bonnet here perfectly. So if you're looking at the car on an angle from this side, you're not going to see any weird looking reflections from this front bit. Anyway, let's move on to the next panel, which I believe I'm going to fix this thing here. There is a little ding here Oh yeah, there it is. I can feel it there. Gonna fix that one next, and then I will go around the front of this whole car and just give this entire thing a sand from front to back. Okay, second job done. This little ding in the guard here, I've sorted it out. One thing I've noticed with sanding these guards, or with sanding in general, I tend to get a better finish if I'm going in a cross directional pattern, sort of like. So if I'm sanding this panel, instead of sanding this way or this way, I go this way, if that makes sense. I find it gets much better surface quicker. So anyway, I have got this perfect. All right, now I've got a little one on the door on the other side to do, and then we'll move on to the back. Okay guys, we're back. I should say guys and girls. I'm sure there are females that watch this sort of stuff. So I have gone over, fixed all of the areas on the car. There was a couple little dents here, a couple little dents on the back here that I've fixed. Around the front, sprayed some paint on there just to see if I could see any imperfections anywhere. All good there. Fix that dent here, fix the door on the other side. We're pretty much got one last thing to do, which is fix these areas here where it's hitting, right there. Same on the other door. So to fix that, I'm going to use this little Dubalaki. Yeah, basically grind that back so that there's enough room under there so that it doesn't hit. You've got to leave enough room for the paint as well, because after you put paint on, you got to remember you're going to have about 1 mil, possibly even more, 1.5 mil of paint. That's going to make that gap even smaller, and you definitely don't want it hitting once you put the paint on, because then you're screwed. All right, there we got it. That line, got plenty of clearance now through that whole section. So that's that. Now, my last job is to sort out this front bar here. So I've got to get this line right because it's not right at the moment, and we are going to make sure this thing is blinging in every way. Okay guys, so I think we are ready to remove all these panels and start work on the engine bay. Okay guys, so we've got the car stripped, all the panels are off. I've noticed a couple of little issues that I've overseen. There's a tiny little imperfection here that I'm going to fix up, and then we're moving on to this part. So I've got to go through and sand this all back, get it all nice and smooth. All of this sort of stuff, I'm going to get rid of it so we've got a really nice finish with our paint. I don't want any of that crap in there. I want this engine bay absolutely blinging. So all of these little lines and glue bumps and all that are all going to be grinded back flat, and we're going to make this look really nice and pretty. So next job, let's get into this, fix that little dent on that corner there, and we're going to push it out, set up our booth and start spraying undercoat. And this is going to get really exciting. The next time we put this car back together, it will be fully painted. This is an exciting stage of the build. Enough said, let's get stuck into this sanding and get it done, because this is the crappy part. Almost over. Okay everyone, so we've finally finished getting the car ready for the first layer of paint, well the body I should say. I'm going to put that in first. I'm going to coat that whole thing in undercoat. The next thing we've got to do is set up this blow up booth. I've got it over here. I've never set one of these up before, but I think it's going to look pretty impressive in here. So my memory card on my phone got full and it stopped recording, so I apologise for that. I mean, I'm not sure I can properly show you just how big this thing is. So I'm gonna have to move the car because it's not right. But I did manage to get it around the right way, which is good. Let's have a quick look inside. Wow. How cool is this? This is a little prep room. I'm speechless. It's the biggest tent I've ever bought. I'm gonna move some cars around. We'll see if we can get this car inside. Okay guys, so we have got the car in here. As you can see, there's a fair bit of room to walk around the car, a fair bit of room to work with. So the next job is going to be lighting. We need to get some fluorescent lights in here, which we're going to hang on these tabs going around here. Okay guys, so we got our lights set up, and I do wish I had a little bit more light in here. Something I'll work on in the future. I might get a couple of these other stage lights. So far it's not too bad. I can see all the panels. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay guys, so we've gone over the whole car, grease and wax removed everything. We are now ready to spray this car with undercoat. Let it begin, let it begin. Okay, guys and girls, we have finished our first layer of undercoat. Mostly it went pretty well. I have noticed there's quite a few areas or imperfections that I've missed, like a slight little ding on this roof here. I don't know if you can see that. It's such a minute little imperfection, but it's very, very hard to spot when you've got different colored paint all over the car. It's very, very hard to spot these types of imperfections. Had another little issue here where unfortunately the sweat from my arm dripped onto the car. So next time I paint, I'm gonna wear a full suit to stop that from happening. Probably should have done that first, but as I said, I'm not a professional spray painter. I'm just learning as I go. Another thing that happened was I ran out of paint while I was doing the roof, and that's why you've got a little bit of discoloration there, but that shouldn't matter. We'll be sanding this back anyway, but we don't want that. We don't want to do that with the paint. So another imperfection spotted here roughly. It's very hard to see in this camera. Another little imperfection on the guard here that I've noticed. So just little things, tiny, tiny little things that I've spotted, but overall, it's fairly good. I managed to get almost everything. Next step, we're gonna push this car out. Okay, so I've decided I'm gonna continue working on the body and just block this back, get everything ready for its next coat of paint before I move on to painting all of the rest of the guard. All right, so I've put guide coat over the whole car, very thin mist over the whole car, and now we'll go and block the whole thing back. And this way we know if we've missed an area, it'll be black, and if we've got any imperfections, it'll also be black. So once we're finished, the black spots will be the telltale sign of problem. Okay guys and girls, so we've got the car back in the booth, fixed up all of our little imperfections everywhere. You can see there, it's all been blocked back. Same on the other side. So we're ready for our second coat of undercoat. And then same deal, I'll spray that on. We'll put a guide coat over it, which is just essentially black paint. And then I'll sand that back until all the guide coat's gone. That way we know we're back to flat again. And if we don't push through anywhere and there's no holes or anything, this will be done, and then we'll move on to the guards. So second coat's done. I did get a couple of runs in the paint in certain areas, which is not too big of a deal on the undercoat because we're just going to sand it back anyway. Definitely don't want to get runs when we go painting. I've got a new gun and I'm not quite familiar with the settings yet, so it's good to experiment. Tried to spray this layer on as thick as I could. Obviously I've sprayed it a little bit too thick. Got a couple of runs, I'll show you. So I'm going to leave this for a few hours before I start sanding it, because I have made the mistake before when spraying a really thick coat on. You jump into the sand, you can put like a crease mark through it. It is a horrible thing to try and get out. We're going to let this dry, move on to sanding it tomorrow, and we'll start with the guards next. Okay, so finished with that sand. That was a long, laborious task, but it is done. Hopefully, I only got to do this maybe one more time. So I'm just going to cover the areas that I've sanded back. You can see the car pretty much got all of the imperfections out. There was one or two, like this one here. You can see the black guide coat is still showing after I sanded, and we got right through to the original paint color. So that's a low spot there. So we need to fix that. That's easy. I believe that was the only issue I found. Oh no, this one here, another one here, another low spot. So that's it. Apart from that, everything else went pretty good. So tomorrow, again, I'll be back. We'll put another coat on this car, and hopefully this will be the last time I have to sand the whole car, but I'll be sanding everything. So I got my final coat on, and I believe we have nailed everything. There are no imperfections anywhere. We've got one final block back, which I'm going to change to a finer sandpaper because I don't want to sand to it after we've blocked it back. We want to still have undercoat covering everywhere. We don't want to see any bare metal. So that's the next step. Then the body is finished and we can move on to the panels. All right, we got the two guards prepped and ready for paint. So I'm just going to give them a quick wipe over with grease and wax remover, and let's paint them up. So I've finished the two guards. I think we know the drill by now. We've got to block them back, well, guide coat them first, sorry, and then block them back. These actually turned out really, really well. I don't see any imperfections at all anywhere. So after we block this back, providing we don't go through to the metal anywhere, these will be done, and then we can move on to the next pieces. gonna keep smashing these parts out and get all the paint on them. There's one of the doors done. Come out beautiful. Let's keep going. Oh my goodness, it's over. Well, the bulk of it's over. Basically, we've got all the panels now covered, all the panels to do our main color on the car. So just to give you all a bit of a time frame, I've been here for 15 days working on this. I mean, from 9 o'clock till 9 o'clock at night for 15 days straight to get to this point. It's just so you guys know how much work goes into prepping the panels before paint. When you see the next video and you see how quick paint goes on, you're gonna be like, okay, I see where all the work goes. It's not in the painting, it's in the prep. The next job in the next video, what we're gonna do is basically put all our color down on all the sills, underneath the bonnet, behind the doors, underneath the boot, all them areas. We're gonna paint the engine bay and then hang the doors, hang the bonnet, hang everything, get this whole car ready for paint. We'll have to mask everything up after it's all been painted, and then we're gonna spray the whole car in one hit. The front bumper, the two side skirts, and a few of the other little bits and pieces I'm gonna do last because there's a lot of cutting of colors. I've gotta cut the black and the gray in and then clear it. It's better if I do that separately. That's gonna be it for this video, guys and girls. If you've learned something today from the video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you are interested in getting your tickets in to win this Supra, please download the app at mechanicalwarriors.com.au, or you can search Mechanical Warriors on the Google Play or Apple Store and download the app now. Get your tickets in to win the car. As soon as it's finished, we are going to draw this car. It's going to be a 1200 horsepower, fully custom street car. You're going to watch it get built by me on this channel, so please follow and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video where we're going to put paint on this car.